Bene's Bloody Bits.
Welcome to Triple B. My name is Jason Bene. He's Malcolm, founder of Earth 616 Harvey. It's a Monday. We haven't been together for a couple weeks. This is only the second cinematic Fartblower theater we've done. We're looking at Doctor Strange 2 in the Multiverse of Madness. How are you doing, Malcolm?
I'm doing okay. Just been relaxing, chilling, and watching this movie.
Yeah, I think it's good to step away from the crazy of either social media, even YouTube, even movies sometimes. Hate to say that. You sometimes you get burnt out and you need to step away. But we got Doctor Strange. The original film was directed by Scott Derrickson, who actually has a horror resume. He did Sinister, Exorcism of Emily Rose. For some reason, he did not return for the sequel, but he was in talks to do it. I don't know if there was some falling out with him and Marvel and Kevin Feige, the boss there. I want to guess, with no proof, that he really wanted to up the horror more in the sequel. And they were like, well, we still need to make it a Marvel film. So in steps in Sam Raimi, another guy with the horror, chops. And before we get to number two, you like the first one?
Yeah, I really like the first one. I thought Mads Mikkelsen was a great villain in it, and I also like Scott Adkins in it as his sidekick. Like his evil friend. So yeah, I liked it. I liked it a lot. Me and Donna watched it together. And I thought Rachel McAdams was good in the first one. I didn't think she was in it enough. And yeah, I liked the whole story of the first one. Really, I mean, Donna was more of a fan because, well, she loves that. She loves Doctor Strange. She's obsessed with him. But she hated this one. So even the biggest fans can hate him, I guess.
So with the part two, when did you see it, and what were your issues with the film?
Okay, I saw it when it came out on 4K. I bought it day one because I didn't see it in the cinema. I watched that, and I think I watched that and Thor: Love and Thunder back to back. So that point wasn't good, but I got 4K because I think we just moved back over England at the time, and I was like, okay, I want to test my setup. So I put it on. Lovely looking film. I'm not going to put it down that way. It looks good on 4K. But from the get-go, you're just like, oh dear, what's going on? And it just gets more and more like, what is this? Some soppy soap? Or is it some like weird jacked up fan film? But it's like used those AI kind of, deep fakes with all the characters because you just don't know what the hell's going on. And you're like, and it's true what I read about WandaVision, but you're supposed to watch that before you watch this. But if you haven't, it's a little bit of a.
Well, that's funny that you mentioned that. So what happened was I saw the movie a couple years ago. Wasn't a fan at all. Last night I caught up on Agatha All Along, which is an extension of WandaVision. I watched the last 3 episodes and I was like, you know what? It's been a couple years. As a refresher, I'm already in the Disney Plus app. I'm gonna go ahead and rewatch Doctor Strange 2, and damn it, I enjoyed it more than the first time.
Oh no.
I still have some of the same issues, and it goes to even TV shows like The Flash or even the Avengers Endgame. When you get to multiverses, it really starts to screw with your head. There's a lot of jumping around, and sometimes you don't know where you're at and which character it is. It's like we got 3 different Doctor Stranges happening, and you're kind of like trying to track down which one. I still didn't like Marvel's hit this phase in the last 5 years where their CGI is starting to look worse somehow than it did prior. Like the tentacled Lovecraftian monster at the beginning that, Scarlet Witch kind of sends out after America Chavez and things like that.
It's been a bit phantasmal, doesn't it, really?
It still looked bad. It still looked like a cartoon, even when its eyeball gets plucked out. But I did kind of embrace more. Sam Raimi just keeps remaking Evil Dead. If you watch even like this film or Oz, the Great and Powerful, which is a prequel to Wizard of Oz, you almost like watching Army of Darkness again. There's a lot of points where he can't help but go back to his roots and where he began. And though it's a Marvel film, it's still like watching it the second time, it did feel more like a Sam Raimi film. I thought there was a lot of compromise the first time I watched it with the horror.
Yeah.
I think that Raimi wanted to go more horror, and it kind of reined him in and said, no, we still need to make the action comic book fans happy. I think Marvel's gone full-blown horror, which is probably why they're having a hard time with their Blade movie that they want to do. That keeps getting, greenlit and then back after setback. I did enjoy it. Yeah, I did enjoy it a lot more the second time. Probably because also the whole relationship, I understood a little bit more with Rachel McAdams' character. I kind of, she's getting married. He screwed up with her. He had a chance to make something with her, and then he meets her version in the multiverse, and there's more of he's trying to make up for mistakes that he made. So I kind of got the human character inside of things a little bit better last night, watching it.
The biggest mistake was that they weren't on Earth 69, and he wasn't with her in the, getting the cake, getting her upside down, and that's what should have happened.
And fooling around. I will say this: he is, was it Benedict Cumberbatch? Is that his name? I want to make sure I get that. Perfectly cast. I can't imagine anybody else, even without the gray hair on the sides. He just looks the role.
He's perfect for the role. He's perfect.
So you didn't like it. Donna, your wife, liked it even less. Did you guys watch it together?
Yeah, she hated it more than me because she loves Doctor Strange. She's watched all of them, even the cartoon one. And she hates it because she says it's not even Doctor Strange anymore. It's Doctor, what do you want to do for the multiverse while trying to do absolutely nothing but look like a dead corpse?
Is the biggest problem the multiverse, the hopping around from dimension to dimension? Is that a big?
I think for her it was because they got a bit confusing. Not because she can't keep up that thing, but because when it's like one Doctor Strange, you know what's going on. But when there's three, you leave the room for a few minutes, and there's another one. You're like, what's going on?
Is there anything about the film that you enjoyed?
I enjoyed looking at Elizabeth Olsen, especially in the scenes with the kids, where she's just staring at them as they sing ice cream to her to try and make her calm down. And when you find out that she's not really evil, which kind of makes you go, oh, it's a sellout again, isn't it? She's not really evil. It's something in her mind corrupting her. And you're like, oh. Looking at Elizabeth Olsen is always good.
Did you know that she's the sisters with Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen? I didn't know that for the longest time.
You didn't
I know it. Well, I know it like up until 5-10 years ago.
When I was a kid, I grew up with the Olsen twins. And I remember watching them on Two of a Kind as a kid and thinking they were the coolest girls in the world, watching their movies, growing up. But they never got their bumbers out like Elizabeth Olsen did in Old Boy. Check it out. Great. I love seeing that bit. I've watched that multiple times. And not for the film.
The Old Boy remake. I saw that. I forgot that part was in the film.
She's got the towel on and she comes onto him and she drops it, and for a few seconds you see her booty.
I think I need to watch it again.
It's the only bit about the film you need to watch. The rest of it's crap.
That's right. The Spike Lee film. That's right.
Yeah. The film, but you can't believe Spike Lee made because he's such a great director other than that film.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it doesn't even fit with his filmography when you start looking at not because it's a remake. It just doesn't seem like something he would do. It doesn't.
He's such a decorated director. It's like one of the greatest, directors, if you ask me. But that's same.
So it definitely could have been better.
It could have been better, definitely. But I will say this: it's too Evil Dead. The bit where he gets the bloody souls into that soul cape thing and starts flying around, and you're like, Evil Dead, why do we need Evil Dead in a Marvel film? And then you're like, it's too violent, but it's not violent enough. It's like 50-50 aspect, She's got blood all over her face, looking like she's like the multiverse version of Carrie, except not as sexy because she's clothed too much. She's not in like a prom dress. If she was in that Scarlet Witch outfit, maybe it would have been a little bit more appetizing, dare I say. But yeah, 2 Evil Dead. And I mean, even to the point where his face is all rotten and he's like, it's like,
no, actually, the scene that you're talking about where she jumps into the body of her, in the multiverse version of her, it absolutely was Carrie. It was, I got the image right here in front of us, the blood on the face, the fire in the background, and then she starts. I did enjoy where you see the Illuminati, you see Professor Xavier, Richard Reed from Fantastic Four, their version of Captain Marvel, and she smokes them like they're nothing.
I've got to say this, Hayley Atwell, in that bit. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that rubbed me the wrong way the first time I watched that whole scene. For some reason I was like, they're just trying to set up the next movie because we know that they have the rights now to Fantastic Four and X-Men, so we kind of knew they were shifting that direction. But I did like how that's how powerful Scarlet Witch is, that she took out all these big people within minutes. And I was like, that was pretty cool. I did dig it. It was very Carrie. It was Carrie White at the prom. Very reminiscent.
Well, you've got to think as well, right? Xavier dies again, right? And what's funny is he dies it's like when he dies, it's like and then he falls. And you're like, did she finish him off properly? Because my word.
The funniest part in that whole scene was where Doctor Strange sees the guy and he goes, like he has a fork on his head, he said. What was that guy that I forgot the character's name?
Bolt Bug or something?
Yeah, like he could blow the bubbles, but he's like, who am I going to? I'm gonna listen to this guy with the fork on his head. I found myself laughing, and of course, Bruce Campbell has to pop up, right? He's always
himself around.
The hot dog dude. Yeah, it's he's kind of always there. That relationship goes back.
That's even more of an Evil Dead reference, then, isn't it? When you think about it.
Well, and also where he's made to punch himself in Army of Darkness. Do you remember where all the skeletons punch Ash at the same time? So if you're a Sam Raimi fan, if you're not a Sam Raimi fan, none of this stuff makes sense or it doesn't click. Where guys like us that are horror fans have watched his movies forever, you're like, oh, been there, seen that. We kind of know where he's referencing, which might be a good thing or a bad thing. If you don't know what it, then you're like, you don't feel like he's repeating himself. But we're horror guys, so we know this stuff like the back of our hands.
Don't get me wrong, I think those bits are nice, like seeing Bruce Campbell, and I do think the homage to Evil Dead is great in some aspects in the movie and the Carrie part. But at the same time, I feel like at times it does take away from the actual movie, because by the time you get to the end, it just feels like a load of nonsense. Like, what's her name? Miss America?
Oh, America.
You're just watching her basically walk around, almost getting killed multiple times. And then there's this bit where she does this portal behind Scarlet Witch, and he doesn't take her. But he killed her parents, he killed these other people, but not her. She can just stand there. It's like...
Yeah, they gave this really cute girl who's got this, multiverse power that she has no control over. When she gets upset, it opens up and it's like a star, and then eventually she is underused. I admit she could have been given more screen time.
It's so why it's sucking you up.
Yeah, because one, she's attracted, and two, she's a new character. It's always nice to see somebody new. I don't know what they're going to do with her in the future. If they're going to give her, I doubt they're going to give her her own film, but maybe she'll pop up in another one of these Marvel films. I think Marvel is starting to slow down. And if you've noticed, they had a lot of films in a row that didn't do so well, box office wise. And 2023 between DC and Marvel, there was probably 7, 8 superhero films this year. What we have, Wolverine and Deadpool. Did we have anything else?
Did we have a new? No, we didn't have new Ant-Man, did we? That was the year before.
What was the one that Marvel did? Madam Web, was that this year?
I think that was that was early this year.
Like January, but there hasn't been many. So I think they're starting to slow down there. Maybe they're doing too much too quick.
I think what they're what they're going to start doing is I think they're going to start putting them on Disney Plus because it probably saves them a lot more money. Because you think about it, when they put things on Disney Plus and they release them and still people pay like $50, $60 for them.
It seems like the TV part of things, they are doing a lot straight to Disney Plus. I still think they're going to do theatrical. I think a movie like Wolverine and Deadpool, which made a ton of money, kind of gives them that, props them back up and go, oh, okay. I don't think we need 4 or 5 from each of these studios. I think maybe just do 2 damn
and that
good
should have been
ones.
a Fartblower.
Which one?
Wolverine, Deadpool Wolverine should have been a Fartblower.
That's, you know what? I was tempted to watch it last night because it is on Disney Plus, but I did want to watch Multiverse again. I think I'm going to watch it next week. A lot of people loved it, but you didn't like it at all.
I hated it.
Is it kind of like over cameoed, over?
Yeah, it's over cameoed, it's over stupid, it's overthink. There's all these jokes in it as well, but I get it's supposed to be breaking the fourth wall, but it's breaking the fourth wall and it's doing it way too much. Like the bit where for instance, the bit where he says, there's a bit where he goes, they bought him, so he's going to keep doing his 90. Fine, that's breaking the fourth wall, right? But the whole thing with like, oh, look, there's 20th Century Fox, rest in peace. Their sign on the floor right next to him. And things like, oh, he's put on some weight since his wife left him and all this stuff about Hugh Jackman. And to me, that just felt too on the nose in a way. And I just felt like the main villain was stupid. I just didn't like it. I just thought the only thing I liked about it was Dogpaw.
I'm glad you mentioned that. You reminded me in Multiverse where they jump from different multiverses, and like the 1 second they're animated, another second they're like looking like claymation. There's a scene where there's a cab. They're in one of the multiverses, and there's a cab, and on top of it there's a banner that says Grindhouse Releasing. That references the guy that edits a lot of Sam Raimi's films, Bob Murawski. Works with Sam Raimi. He does his editing to this day, going back to the 80s and 90s. I thought that was a nice little Easter egg that most people would not have gotten. I didn't even see it. I don't remember.
I thought they were talking about the boutique label.
Yeah. I mean, I saw that logo and I was like, wait. Oh, that's right. Bob Murawski. He does editing. Of course, Danny Elfman's back. I think there was a falling out for a short period between Sam Raimi and Elfman, which is never a good thing because Elfman is so good at what he does. And but going back to the CGI, I don't know if Raimi's ever going to get away from it. When he had an opportunity to do a horror film for the first time in a long time, which was Drag Me to Hell, same thing, over-relied on CGI. Awful. I like the film. I like the film, but man, there was times where it didn't need to be. Yeah. I don't know if he thought it was cheaper. Seemed to be unnecessary. There's some filmmakers that can't get out of it. Another good example is the guy that Andy Muschietti. He directed It Chapter 2 and The Flash, and all 3 of those films have some of the worst. It's okay. There's a time and a place for it, but man, when it just overwhelms like a monster, and it's all like
Tarot's a bit like that, with the cards. Things they're too CGI'd. That's what I liked about Talk to Me. Talk to Me didn't feel like it had that much CGI in it when you were watching it. It felt like the horror was more in your mind and from the fading of the atmosphere. And that's why I really liked Talk to Me last year.
Yeah, and going back to Scott Derrickson, who was supposed to direct this film, he actually decided to go make The Black Phone, a straight up horror film for Blumhouse. I'm interested in the story of why, because he hasn't really said it. He's trying to be professional. Oh, we just disagreed. We agreed to disagree. It's like, there's more to it than that, but you want to make sure that you're not blacklisted in Hollywood. And there's kind of like some ethics and rules that you kind of have to stand by, but people can't say what they really want to say.
And some people just can't shut up about things. It's in Hollywood. In Hollywood, they'll start thinking, and they'll say one thing like, I got to point this guy because of this, and boom, you never hear them again. Crazy. I think it's such a scary thing, Hollywood, when you think about in that aspect. You can't say the things you want, because if you do, you're gone. It's crazy.
I'm going to guess that there's like some unwritten rules when you get into Hollywood as an actor or director, where it's almost like being an athlete. They sit down and go, look, even if you hated the movie you were in, or even if you know it's the biggest pile of crap, when we go do press junkets, you got to act like it's the greatest film ever. Because you know they don't all think that way about the films, but part of their contract is, hey, when we sit down with Access Hollywood or whoever to do these press conferences and interviews, you got to sell it like you love it. There was a very, like Joaquin Phoenix with the new Joker film, he looked really uncomfortable, like doing the interviews for that. And I think it's because he knows it's an awful film. He just looked like, I got a good paycheck. The box office kind of spoke volumes to, I mean, I haven't seen it. Maybe it is good. I don't know. But it kind of like the overwhelming.
I haven't seen it, but I've seen clips and it looks bad.
Yeah. But where do you think they go from here? There's obviously going to be a third Doctor Strange.
Well, the third one's going to have him with that eye, isn't it?
Yeah, because he kind of pulled, in the post-credit scenes, there's the, you can't touch darkness and expect to be completely away from it. So yeah, he's got the third eye going on, and there's an excursion. So, because, the Illuminati tried to go, look, you can't mess with things, the ripple effect. You mess with one universe, you mess things up elsewhere. Obviously he's caused some problems, and he's going to have to go fix things. And of course that will lead to Doctor Strange 3, which I don't think has started filming. I don't know who's going to be directing.
It's not even on the schedule, so it's probably going to be a few more years.
Well, they've slowed down. I know that because of the Avengers, with the one actor getting basically canceled for like beating up his girlfriend, they totally had to redo the Avengers story with that Kang dynasty. They got it now. It's going to be Doctor Doom, played by Robert Downey Jr. So they had to reconfigure a lot of stuff, and I think they've kind of went back and like, let's reload, man. Let's kind of like start. That's a major thing. I mean, that Kang character, it was a really good storyline in Ant-Man, Quantumania, the Avengers, and all of a sudden you got to
they should have just replaced the actor,
recast them.
Yeah.
Nobody. I mean, it's going to be obvious, but at the same time, nobody. Just recast it with.
To be honest with you, I don't think anyone would care. I mean, if they knew the reason why, they'd be like, yeah, at least I'm still getting the story.
So are you in general a big Marvel fan? Like, do you buy them, or were they better like in the 2000s? Like, okay, let me get back to Sam Raimi. Where does this film rank with Darkman, which I think is like an unofficial comic book film, which kind of proved that he can make these films?
Yeah.
Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3. Most people think Spider-Man 2 is one of the greatest superhero films.
The old Spider-Man, like
Spider-Man 2 with Dr. Octopus and Alfred Molina. Yeah. So where does this Doctor Strange rank with the 3 Spider-Man films he did and Darkman?
Oh, it's a hard one. I think Spider-Man 3 has to be at the top, because that was the best one. And
they're being facetious, right? Because a lot of people, Sam Raimi didn't like it because he thought he didn't want Venom in the film, because you got Sandman.
A bit too much, really.
That's the one that people would say was his weakest film, but I'm thinking Doctor Strange 2 was worse.
My favourite one out of those, I would say, if I'd go in order, would be Spider-Man 1. I really like Spider-Man 1. I think it's really good. I like the Green Goblin. William Dafoe's brilliant as the Green Goblin. Perfect role. So number 1. Then I'd probably say Darkman, because I really like Darkman. Number 2, Spider-Man 2, which I know everybody prefers for the most part. But I've always, for some reason, I like the film. I think it's got some excellent cast. It's got excellent character. But it just doesn't compare to me to the first one. And then I would say probably between Spider-Man 3 and Universe, I would say probably Multiverse is probably last.
Yeah, I'm guessing 3 kind of was silly. Remember where Peter Parker got all emo and shit, and like.
Yeah, and he starts, and that bit where he dances and the thing and that, and that's one of the best moments. I still love the gifs of that.
It kind of was like the curse of like the Batman sequels, where you have too many villains and too much going on.
The only thing I will say about Spider-Man is it's absolutely BS that he stole his best Harry Osborn's girlfriend. I mean, what a horrible friend he was.
The original Spider-Man, I think Willem Dafoe looked like the Green Goblin without makeup. So the one part that I found to be a bummer, I wish they would just put a makeup effects on him, like a scarecrow monster looking kind of Green Goblin, as opposed to the metallic, the metal. I thought he looked like him, right? Look at Willem Dafoe even now. He's the Green Goblin.
He's perfectly. Him and William Dafoe and Christopher Walken, they have that perfect look for that. Like Jack Nicholson did for the Joker. It's just like that perfect look of like craziness. I did like when they brought him back though in No Way Home.
I dug that one. I actually like all those villains being brought back. Some of them looked a little bit different, like Electro looked better. Jamie Foxx looked better as the villain. Yeah, I'm a Marvel fan. There's some hits and misses. Same with DC. I like No Way Home. I dug all the different.
Well, it's like Wonder Woman. I love the first Wonder Woman, but I hate the second one.
Yeah, I mean, I like that they brought all the Peter Parkers together.
Yeah.
Like, as opposed to keeping everybody separate. Like, this Spider-Man's better. They got Tobey Maguire. They brought in everybody, and that scene.
What we learned from that was. What we learned from seeing them was they didn't age well. Tobey Maguire looked like he'd been on the booze. Andrew Garfield's character looked like he'd, changed certain aspects of his life. And Tom Holland's one looked like they like all this hugging, like, oh, I'm a hugger now, and all this constantly, But what was nice about that was how he was able to save Mary Jane without her getting thingy off what happened to Gwen Stacy. That was lovely. I love that bit. That was such a great scene. Because it was like he got redemption.
And as always, folks, if you could like, share, and subscribe. And
so you saw it in the cinema. You saw it in the cinema, right? So you freaked out about when it happened.
I actually didn't see it in the cinemas, but I did catch some knucklehead like recording the reveal where all the Peter Parkers showed up and people lost their minds. It's rare in this day and age that stuff doesn't get leaked early because of the internet and everything. This is not like Empire Strikes Back, 1980, finding out Darth Vader is Luke's father. It's a different time. So
it wasn't so bad back then, because if it was in a magazine, that magazine might have got released after the film. So you wouldn't have seen it. As now online, as soon as someone goes to the cinema, they can say whatever they like, can't they?
It's on
this.
Yeah.
It's on TikTok, it's on there, like you were going to say. Sorry about that, can you up there? So Tom Holland, right, signed up for 3 more Spider-Man movies. What do you think about that?
That's all good, man. He could bring on his hottie little girl Zendaya and keep them coming, man. Like, you're not a fan?
No, Zendaya. No, to be honest with you, I think she's very stiff.
Yeah, she makes you stiff.
No, she don't make me stiff. She's, you know what film? But I thought she was really good in Great Showman.
Oh yeah, with Hugh Jackman. I saw that film.
Yeah. I really like that film. That film made me cry. I gave it a 5.
Before I forget, let's throw out some. What are some movies that you really don't like? We don't even have to agree on them. Like for Fartblower, Cinema Future.
Oh, okay. Deadpool versus Deadpool.
It could be horror, science fiction, fantasy, whatever. Could be.
Deadpool, Wolverine.
Okay, you know what? Even if I like it, we don't have to agree. We can do Deadpool and Wolverine.
What else?
Could be. I put you on the spot. You can think about it, but we could do some.
Have you got some? I can tell you from looking at my thing for this year, because I've rated a whole load of things really low. Let me get up. I'll tell you quickly. Have you got any that you really dislike while I look up these?
I did not like Maxine at all. I just watched it or tried to watch it 2 weeks ago, and I didn't make it through the film. I didn't
like it.
I thought it would, you know what? We'll save this for another time. But yeah, Maxine, I was not a fan of. I thought it was awful, which is too bad.
Okay. What's there? Okay, all those deserve to be 0, to be honest. Those ones, because they're all really cheap made to video things like Will Cavern and all that on that one. So let's go with 1, because I've got quite a few that. Okay, Imaginary. I thought that was absolute garbage.
I still need to see that.
The Boy Next Door with Jennifer Lopez. I thought that was garbage. Let's say New York, I Love You. I thought was garbage.
So Malcolm is giving us possible future episodes of Fartblower Theater. Thank you everybody for watching. Please subscribe, share, like. It's really important to the algorithm. If what I've learned is when you have subscribers, if those people that follow you are not liking, sharing, subscribing within, then they're not going to push you into the algorithm, which is also another word for the audience. That's just because they're like, well, if these people that like your channel don't like your videos, they might like them. They just are not. So it is actually important in the big scheme of things. But thank you, Malcolm, for stopping by. Thank you, everybody, for watching. And we'll talk to you soon. Take care.
Take care, guys.
Later.